3 degrees Celsius. That's 37 Fahrenheit with a feel of -3, 27 Fahrenheit. Winds 30 kilometers per hour, 19 miles an hour for our American friends watching from Rochester. We woke up to snow this morning here in Toronto. This is actually supposed to be the last, hopefully, cold day of the winter. We get into some, well, we're in spring now, some not much warmer temperatures starting tomorrow. We are underway here at the Ontario Soccer Centre, and this will be out for a Toronto throw. On that note, Terry, how difficult is it to play in conditions like what we have here this evening?
It's not as tough as you might think. Once you get warmed up and you're all set and ready to go, probably the most difficult part is if there's any long stoppages or even going through national anthems at the start of the game.
We see a lot of players with gloves on. A quick glance, I see maybe only 3 or 4 without. Some long sleeves. Surprisingly, from at least one of the Trinidadians here, Peters, no long sleeves, but he is wearing the gloves as he plays it forward, and it's headed back. There's Jalen Brown, and now Ryan James, Canadian from Mississauga, playing for Rochester, and Farrell back to his keeper Gomez. Headed forward by Peters. That's Malik Johnson. He scored on Tuesday evening in Orlando, his first of the season. TFC with just 2 goals in their first 3 matches. You know, Jason Bent wants a little bit more offense out of his group.
Yeah, this is the first time Ben Spencer and Icahn will play together. I think they'll fit nicely together. Icahn will be that threat in behind. Spencer will be that big player that tries to link up things up top.
There's Jalen Brown playing it now for Dover, another Canadian, one of 2. That's headed away momentarily, and now cleared by James. Over to Telfer.
Important header there from the captain, Mitch Tainter. Great ball in from Brown from the right-hand side. The shape on it was perfect.
Ball fall, number 17 for the Rhinos. Strong player in midfield out of Germany, Jason Bent. Singled him out in his pre-game comments as a player that his squad will need to be very aware of.
Rightly so. He's in the Nzonzi type for players that follow Sevilla or the Premier League, who used to play for Blackburn. I think he's arguably one of the best midfielders in the league. He'll just sit in front of the back four, keeps his game simple. Him and Forbes formed a good partnership in midfield.
Dover trying to run onto it. Aggressive challenge there from Peters, and it's going to be ruled in favor of Rochester.
Yeah, tonight's Peters' debut in the USL already started very strongly. He's been good in the air, and he's been extremely tight to his opponent.
Big man back there on that back line.
Yeah, when you play in a back 3 and you've got Aubrey behind you, you're allowed to get extremely tight. You know you've got that cover in behind.
Farrell playing up now for Dover. Dover from Ajax. Trying to knife his way through the middle of the field. And it's going to be a free kick one to Toronto, as that's Peters, who is down on the turf in some discomfort.
Dover just overruns it there. Peters is alive. As soon as he sees that heavy touch, he knows he's going to take one for the team. He nips in there. Definitely a foul and will be a sore one.
Peters will walk it off. As you mentioned, he is on loan from W Connection in Trinidad, making his USL debut here this evening.
TFC have Icahn, who signed permanently up top. Both of them came in, had very good pre-seasons. Also, John as well, he's in the squad. There's definitely a Caribbean connection that started a couple years ago, where TFC thought, you know what, we need to sort of look into this market here. There's been 6 or 7 players over the years that have come up. Also, Stephen Hart, ex-Canadian national team manager, was down there. So it's a nice little connection. It's no pun intended.
Get another look there at the
yeah, you just
collision.
We just see Brown overrun it there. Quite good defending from Peters. He was just waiting for that heavy touch. In fairness to Brown, the movement up top wasn't great for him.
Came off the head there of Spencer, but none of his teammates are able to find it. Spencer getting tangled up with Dover. Spencer, a player we've seen a little bit of over the last 2 seasons, and he has battled through some injuries as well, Terry.
Yeah, I was speaking to him at the training ground yesterday, actually, and he's saying for the first time, I think he's just got through the tail end of that injury, starting to move freely. I thought he was excellent in Arizona in that first game. He's not just your traditional big man that'll hold it up. He's actually able to receive it on the half-turn play forward. He's just yet to get that opportunity so far in front of goal this season.
Peters for Telfer. Telfer had the campaign's opening goal for Toronto, that 1-0 win in Arizona against Phoenix Rising FC, one of the new teams into the USL this season.
Telfer, he's a great story. He actually went to York University, local product. Big, strong, fast. I don't think there's anybody at the club, including the first team all the way through the academy, that wants it more than him. I watched him play a preseason friendly against the Ottawa Fury, was excellent, and it's great to see him get his just rewards for all that hard work.
For those unfamiliar, York University, probably about a 10-minute drive or so, 10 to 20-minute drive or so from this stadium, so not a long trip over from where he used to play for Ryan Telfer.
And not quite W connection, but there's definitely a fantastic scouting network that goes on at TFC. Also analytic team, no stone unturned, as they say.
It's headed forward by Dover. Jalen Brown had a touch to it as well. Brown with it again. Wall there, pushing it forward. Peters able to free it up. Aubrey in connection there with Madison. That's Brandon Aubrey, TFC's first-round pick from the MLS Super Draft this year.
They seamlessly fit into this back three. Jason Bent's gone from a 4-3-3 system with 2 wingers last year into this 3-5-2. Brandon Aubrey, he's got excellent distribution on the ball. He reads the game well. He's been excellent since coming to the club.
And we were speaking about players who, coming from climates probably not used to playing in temperatures like this. Brandon Aubrey, another one of those, hailing from Plano, Texas. I'm sure there are not a lot of days where it's 27 Fahrenheit down in Plano. Peters will play that back to Cavalluzzo. Cavalluzzo going to be forced into a lot more action here early in the season than Toronto was anticipating. It was Mark Pace's job here to be the main guy at TFC2, but now a long-term injury for Clint Irwin up with the big club, and that means Pace will be called upon to back up Alex Bono. And so Cavalluzzo is an interesting story in himself, Terry, and he'll be getting a lot of playing time here.
Yeah, he actually came through the academy, went away to university, and then was working in the academy as a goalkeeper coach. There's no in between with TFC2 keepers. You either go straight to the first team like Bono and Pace, or, you know, I don't want to say how it ends, but yeah, it's great. It's a feel-good story. Could have done maybe better on that first goal in Orlando, but the best thing, what you don't want to do is dwell on it, and he's got another opportunity today.
Got
something like 7 goalkeepers last season.
Yeah,
TFC
I was just going to say that a lot of keepers last season. We had Quillen Roberts and Alex Bono, who were slated to be the the main guys, and then an extended injury to Irwin meant neither of them were getting any action down here. Phil DiBernardo was in for a stretch. They brought in a keeper from Edmonton late in the season as well, and Cavalluzzo. Brogan Engbers, I believe, got some work. Yeah. He is the backup here tonight and will be for the majority of the opening of this season.
Clint Irwin as well came down.
Yes, that's right. Irwin is one of the
I think he was
7.
I think he was peppered for 11 in 2 games.
He had two starts. I don't think he played the full 90 in both. I think it was 3 halves, as this is played through for Madison. Back for Brown and headed forward. And Wesley Sharpie credited with some time in net last year as well.
Good movement there. We saw Matt from Madison just running off of James. Once James gets squared up to the goal, Madison will just pull off the 2 center half shoulder and look to get him behind.
There's Andrews with his first real touch of the match, and he's taken down, and that's going to be a free kick to Toronto right outside the area. And the first good opportunity from a set piece will come to Toronto.
Yeah, all Icom here, very direct, attacks the defender. Definitely a foul. Easy one for the referee. Good quick feet from him.
He's probably the only man here who disagrees with you, Terry. The look of shock, perplexion on his face after the whistle. It will be Tsubasa Endo to send this in. A lot of time with the first team last year, and early in the MLS campaign, but did not play with TFC2 at all last season, but has seen a good amount of action here early. This comes down, and Peters sends it just wide with the left foot. It was loose in there for a moment. Brandon Aubrey got ahead to it, and it came down onto the left foot of Peters, and it took a deflection off a Rochester defender and will be out for a corner.
One thing with Sebastian Endo is you know you're going to get quality. Whips a great ball into the back post. Aubrey can't do a whole bunch with it. It just falls nicely for Peters. Stabs at it, just misses the post.
Went off the leg of Jalen Brown. Corner swung in. Oh, and that's just wide off the head of Ben Spencer. Just missing the far post.
Another fantastically whipped ball in from Endo with the wind behind it as well. Just curls into that near post area. Spencer rises, just misses at the back post. Great leap from Spencer at the near post. It's already been a very busy season for Endo. He's started away at Philadelphia for the first team, played in Arizona, played against Tampa. He was rested against Orlando B in the last USL game, so he should be fresh tonight. I like to see him playing inside a little bit more. He's been playing in that wing-back position more times than not.
This is a wide for Brown. Can't pull it down cleanly.
It would be good to see Elseth in that position where Endo has been playing. He's a player with a very high ceiling. Player Jason Bent, assistant coach Chris Pozniak are very high on. Possibly even talking about him if it goes to plan getting first team minutes.
We're speaking of first round picks for Toronto. Endo, the first round pick, I believe 9th overall in the Super Draft in 2016 for Toronto. And Toronto has used that draft to get some pretty important pieces for the first club. Alex Bono, a high draft pick in that draft as well, paying dividends.
There's an example of the high press from Rochester. In the first 24 minutes in their last game against Bethlehem, they turned it over 12 times. It's important that the TFC2 players are aware of it, have an idea in their head when they get the ball. They're going to need 4 or 5 quick passes to play out of that press.
There's Dover, now Skipper Forbes.
Jamaican international, 3 caps.
There's Farrell. Dover. Dover whips that in. Aubrey gets a touch to it. Madison was unable to, and there's a left-footed strike from Wall, and it's over the goal. Let's take a look, rewind 2.5 minutes here to Endo's corner.
Young Japanese player whips it in. Ben Spencer, you just see him, great leap from him. I think he's going for goal there. Just gets enough on it, glances off his head. That's 2 good opportunities off set pieces. Something this season that Jason Bent is looking to improve on.
Is that the approach you like to see there from Spencer, going for goal from that spot?
I think so. I think he's looking just to get a contact directed to that back post. If someone comes in and gets a touch on it, great. But I like to see in-swung corner kicks, like a right footer there. On the other side, obviously a left footer, especially when you have that wind behind you, Matt.
So it looks like it will be Endo to be taking these set pieces tonight. We have seen some pretty talented set piece takers come through here the last couple of seasons. Boba Booley did a lot of work with that back in 2015. Last year, a lot of Raheem Edwards. Both have graduated up to the first team, and Edwards playing a different position, but really taking the experience he got here with TFC2 last season to his advantage.
Yeah, he was on the bench for MLS Team of the Week. I think this wing-back position might not be his perfect position, but he's adapted well. When Justin Morrow's injured or can't play, hopefully he'll be that go-to guy, and he's had an excellent start to the year. He gives you a little bit more attacking presence out there.
James sends that up the right side for Brown, pushes it into the middle, and it's pushed back out by Mitch Tainer. Now crossed it again in the air, headed away by Alseth. Sent back in, Brian James there to meet it.
It was a very good first ball from Brown. The second one, he just puts it into the mixer. I'd like to see him really get his foot around it.
Dover, cross off the head of Peters. And this will go out for, I believe they have ruled a Rochester corner. That is their first of the evening.
Some of the link-up play between Dover and Brown has been very good in the first 15 minutes here.
And with the sun setting can really feel that temperature starting to drop here. As we are just shy of 8 o'clock Eastern time.
As you say that, all the cameramen are nodding their heads.
Might have to throw the two-gun in the second half or the later stages of this first half as that corner swung off the foot of Fall.
You might need to explain to the American viewers what a toque is.
I think they call it a beanie.
A beanie?
A winter hat.
In England, it's a woolly hat.
A woolly hat. Thought I had put that stuff all away for the season, including the winter boots, which have made an appearance tonight as well. And hopeful to throw them right back into the back of the closet tomorrow.
Fall's doing an excellent job there, just screening the back four for Rochester. It's very difficult for Spencer once he gets sandwiched in between him and the center halves.
Fall long up, looking for ground, defended well by Peters.
He does well there. The ball just got held up in the wind. Brown's been excellent so far. You can see what Fall was trying to do. Just put it in behind that. In behind the back three. That's one of the, against this system, that's one of the flaws to it in the channels.
Telfer tries to win that away. Endo is in there to poke it free. Malik Johnson unable to get control of it. Malik Johnson, a player that we saw score some pretty highlight reel goals last season. His campaign was interrupted in the middle with a pretty gruesome knee injury. Was able to come back late in the year, but just did not look like the same player as he had the first part of the season.
Yeah, it was a tough one. The turf got him, I remember it. There's no in between with Malik Johnson. I think he just needs to find that consistency to his game. He's either unbelievable, he's going to stick it in the top corner, or the game kind of passes him by.
He also struggled a little bit after, at that point in the season, teams really started to zero in on him, realizing that he was a playmaker and a guy that the offense was going to funnel through, and just didn't seem like he was able to create separation from the extra defensive attention he was receiving.
That's better from TFC. It's taken them maybe 17 minutes to put a few passes together, find that extra player in midfield.
That's all Seth, and he is dispossessed there smartly by Camden Fewot.
Camden, he actually grew up in Calgary, played for Foothills FC, had a season in the PDL. This is his second year now at Rochester, played almost 30 games last year.
Always love calling a Rochester game, and we have head coach Bob Lilly down to our left here. One of the more animated coaches in the league, always up on that sideline yelling instructions to his players.
Yeah, we touched on that in our pregame show, or short pregame show, that he sets a very high standard from his team. He wants them to play a certain way. Last season, TFC2 and Rochester drew. Rochester were winning at halftime. He actually had them in the changing room for almost 2 hours after berating them. Mighty Duck style.
Mighty Duck style would have been if they came back out to the field and
started running lines.
Yeah.
He's won championships, so he's doing something right.
Yeah, Rochester, as they have a dangerous opportunity here, and deflected away by Tainer out for a corner. USL championship for these Rhinos just 2 seasons ago in 2015.
I think Madison gets away with one here. The ref misses it. Great ball from Fall. You can see just a little push on Mitch Tainter there, and then it comes out to James. Good block from Mitch.
Tainter did well to get back into positioning there. Swung in low, a double deflection there, and I believe last touch. I thought it was off of Ryan James. But
no, I think Peters just touches it there. Important touch. James was just behind him lurking.
Always the fun game for us to call when we have Brian James and Ryan James.
Yeah, and both of them are coming up against each other. Brian James in that holding midfield role.
This will be a 3rd consecutive corner for the Rhinos. I think that one was last touch to Spencer.
Ryan James was actually drafted by TFC in 2016. Was excellent in preseason, I'm told. Just 1 or 2 things off the pitch that let him down, why the TFC didn't sign him.
And there's a deflection. Off the bar, I think they're going to say, it will be a goal kick. Cavalluzzo was right up there to meet it. Looked like he might have got a hand to it, but the referee signals that it's off the bar, and thankfully for Toronto, not a 4th consecutive corner.
a different corner from Rochester than Endo's. Forbes really drives it. Great run from Fall. That run needs to be blocked. Times it perfectly. Real powerful header off the crossbar. TFC 2 get away with one there.
That'll be a free kick to Toronto. You mentioned the games last year between these two clubs. One of the more interesting games we saw last season, back on June 11th, Toronto coming away with a 2-1 victory. All 3 goals being scored in the 77th minute or later. Luca Uccello was right off the bench, and I believe a minute into his appearance, he found the back of the net to make it 1-0. Billy Johnson scored to make it 2-0 in stoppage time, and then Joseph Farrell, about 90 seconds later, made it 2-1. Just an absolutely furious finish to that game. And I know you remember it fondly.
James there shows one of his strengths. He reads the game extremely well. He's got technique to back that up. Great first touch. Just needs to put a couple of passes together, put his foot on, bring his other midfielders into the play. Doesn't need to be too direct.
As we see an injured Rochester player down, slow to his feet, rubbing the back of his head.
It's been a pretty frantic game, Matt. I think it's because both teams off the ball are working very hard, pressing one another, and both sides in possession are just struggling to play out of that press at the moment. And you can't quite see it, obviously, on the pictures, but it's extremely windy here as well.
Yeah, and the wind is pretty swirly, not really. I guess you could say it's going southeast at this point.
Yeah, it's a little bit behind TFC 2 at the moment.
Yeah, I'm saying southeast. Our viewers have no idea what that. So yeah, it's coming with at TFC's back and sort of right into our camera lens from that side of the pitch.
There, that's much better player. Peters goes into Telfer, back to Peters, and then the space opens up for Malik Johnson. Just isn't quite capable of bringing it down.
Dover takes a deflection off James. Johnson down for Spencer. Into the middle for Endo. Endo is fouled and will be another free kick here to Toronto.
Endo's just too quick for the big center half, Felix. Picks it up in a very nice pocket. I like to see him there, how direct he was. He could have easily gone out wide to Alseth.
Likely be Endo to take this as well. He's got Brian James standing beside him. Ryan Telfer flanked to his right.
From this distance, I'd like to see him really put his foot through it, not try to bend it over the wall. Which he does. He gets a little bit of knuckle on the ball, just a bit too high.
Fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts, Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM-FC, Channel 85. Also, don't forget Sirius XM-FC will air USL Game of the Week. Check out uslsoccer.com for dates and times.
Good header there from Aubrey. I'd expect him to win most things in the air over top of Madison. Comes nicely into Ben Spencer. This is what Ben Spencer has to do. Give TFC a chance to get up the pitch. He's got to get hold of it. Just comes off him.
Aubrey heads that forward. James. Zendo. Chipping forward, looking for Andrews. Andrews has it. Andrews into the area, just could not get it under control. And takes a kick at the snow you see in the background, the perfect backdrop for this Canadian soccer match here tonight.
Nice change of pace from Icom Andrews. I like it. I like that threat in behind. Just a little bit too unlucky, can't get there.
Don't want to harp on the weather too much, Terry, but really it's been a while since a professional soccer match in Toronto has had decent weather. We look at TFC's home opener last week, torrential downpour. the MLS Cup game in that bitter cold back in December. The Eastern Conference Championship against Montreal, also in a torrential downpour. Today, the cold and the snow this morning.
At least we're playing at that time of year, though, so that's a good thing.
Yes, it's definitely, you know, you count your blessings that you're in that game on December 11th, but would surely like to have some better weather.
That's when she said.
Yeah, one or two niggly fouls, just killing the momentum of the game. Has become a little bit start-stop.
And that's what you had mentioned would be the difficult part of playing in this temperature. We don't have a lot of back and forth at this point, which, like you said, would get that blood circulating and really warm the body up.
It's no fun for the subs either. There's some cold feet on the bench.
Yeah. Peters. Fall sends that back. Peters once again with a volley.
Just hacks at it there. Needs to show a little bit more composure.
Tainter aggressively pushing that forward. Tainter wearing the captain's armband this season, taking over from Chris Manella, who was the primary captain in TFC2's first 2 seasons.
Just coming back a little bit too easily from the front, too. They have to get hold of it. I thought Mitch Tainter was excellent last year. He, too, showed good versatility. Started off at center half because of an injury to Sharpie. Had to go play at right back. I thought he developed very nicely.
Yeah, he was a player that you could really see the growth in his game as the season went on. Peters a smart play there to send it out off James.
We touched on him, Matt, in the pregame show. Brian James, he's had an excellent start to the year. We've seen him playing just a little bit deeper in that number 6 role in front of the back 3. He's got some great players at Toronto FC to learn from. Michael Bradley, Benoit Cheroux. He definitely has a soccer IQ to play there, and he seamlessly transitioned to that position.
Once again, that's out to touch.
That's a good characteristic of Andrew's game. Good to see him working hard from the team, tracking back there.
Forbes. Olseth unable to run that down. Back for Forbes. Tries to swing it out wide. And Toronto quickly on the counter here. That's Andrews. Out wide, swung into the middle, and no Toronto player close enough, as that was Tainter who was sprinting down the right side. I think he was trying to pick out Spencer, but Spencer dropped back to the edge of the area, but it's out for a Toronto corner.
After some excellent work defensively, which springboarded the attack in transition, TFC2 were extremely quick. Mitch gets up the pitch, with a ton of pace. When you've got Ben Spencer at the back post, all you've got to do is hang it up, almost overhit it. Yet there was a mismatch at the back post.
Endo on the corner. And Toronto will get another opportunity here as that one is headed away by the Rhinos.
Well defended by Dover, important header from him. Again, great quality on Tsubasa Endo's set piece delivery. Cut back to Olseth could be on.
Trying to pick out Tainter there, and that's once again headed over the bar by the Rhinos, and it will be a third corner for Toronto. They're going to swing it over to the near side this time, I believe. The referee is motioning Endo over to the far side, or the near side of the pitch from our vantage point. Third game in 7 nights here for Toronto, Terry. That you know, not everybody is playing in the third game, but there was some travel involved as well, coming back from Florida.
Yeah,
so.
I think there'll definitely be a little fatigue in TFC2's legs, but you also get that cohesiveness, getting used to playing together. This is only Rochester's second game of the season. They've last played on April 1st.
That's a little bit overhit there from, I believe that was
Brian James. Just overcooks it, tries to power it through, looking for anything in the middle. Just tries to put it in the mixer, just gets underneath it a little bit too much.
our first overcook of the season. He burnt it.
I'm definitely not feeling too burnt right now.
No, I would prefer something to be overcooking. Just to my right or my left here, so I can warm my hands up. Even with the big hot paws on, hands are still a little bit, a little cold, a little chilly.
Too many bodies in and around that throat. Either Ben Spencer or Andrews just needs to pull away. It's just too congested.
Positive from Toronto, however, a half an hour in here now as we literally just hit half hour there, you see on your screen. And nothing conceded. That was a problem down in Florida, that they gave up some early goals and were fighting against it.
Yeah, I think they came up against a good Tampa Bay side. You've got to give Tampa a ton of credit, though TFC2 didn't show up on the day. I thought the reaction against Orlando B was good. Went down 1-0, as you said, early goal, came back to make it 1-1, and at 1-1 it could have gone either way. Orlando B, for such a young side, played a very experienced game. They dropped back, relinquished possession to TFC there, and TFC2 just ran out of ideas a little bit and got stung on the counterattack. Orlando B have a ton of pace up top.
Yeah, and you mentioned that Tampa team, a 4-0 victory for them. They've gone to 2-0 on the season now. And Jason Ben even admitted in his remarks that that's probably about what the league should expect from that Tampa Bay team. They're an expansion into USL. I guess you should say an addition into USL, not an expansion club, however. They have
no, they played in the NASL.
Played in the NASL, so it's a team that would be very familiar with each other, and not a true expansion team where you've sort of everybody introducing themselves to each other on the first day. Because nobody's played together.
They've got lots of experience. England international Joe Cole plays for them. Chelsea, West Ham player. So a good test for TFC2 to come up against them. They were able to deal with the experience of Sean Wright Phillips and Cohen, Arizona, but Tampa was just, maybe with the travel and the game in short succession, just a step too far at this time of year.
Yeah, so you see hear the name Joe Cole on the broadcast, and I'm thinking, that Joe Cole?
He's still moving well for 34, 35.
What's your excuse? I'm kidding. You don't have to answer that.
Cartilage in my knee. You see any cartilage around, knocking around, just pick it up for me. And my first touch. Other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, other than that, just slide right back into the first team.
And I'm living the dream on the TFC2 broadcast.
Absolutely. Well,
cold dream.
Making that, you're just making a cameo with us here on TFC2, seeing you on TSN for the MLS broadcast now this year. We're honored that you were, still joining us this season.
Aw, thanks, mate.
Terry blushes every time I send him a picture of himself on the TSN desk and DM him while he's on the air.
That's good from James. Didn't need to go south to north or north to south there. Just take that extra pass, put a few passes together, and this is where TFC2 look at their best. They try to stretch this very compact Rochester team.
Played up the right flank, picking out Andrews there, working 1v2, takes a tumble, and is able to win the throw for Toronto on his way down.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Andrews keep going to the byline there. Didn't need to come back. Try to get a cross in or maybe win a corner.
Here's Brandon Aubrey. Pushed all the way back for Cavalluzzo, who's well out.
Very well coached team, you can see. Once they can't win the ball high up the pitch, Rochester, they'll just drop back into two banks of four. They'll fall a little bit careless in possession.
Bit of a mistake there. Johnson finds Andrews, and he just was not able to control that on the first touch. And ended up with a weak left-footed sort of push kick. And we're never threatened goal. James does well to win that back for Toronto there, but Endo not able to control. Now it's Aubrey. Out for Telfer. Now Peters.
Malik Johnson did very well. Fall loses possession too easily in midfield. Malik Johnson's on it in a flash, and the weight of the pass was perfect. It just held up on the turf, just a touch. This turf is very slow at the Ontario Soccer Centre. And then, unfortunately, Andrews doesn't take that positive touch out of his feet. He just checks back again, and the chance is gone.
What effect might the precipitation we saw this morning have on this pitch?
It's already dried up, the turf. You can see some of the passes you're not able to really fire it in. It just holds up a little bit. The turf here is a little bit long. It's not conducive for passing football. It's very difficult. It's at its best here, actually, when it's wet. I actually played in a charity game last year, and I was like, right, I'll see how bad this turf really is. And to be honest, firsthand, actually having played on it, it's not great. It's quite slow. It's very spongy.
Rochester pushing forward. I was going to ask you another question about the pitch, but
good defending
that's not exciting stuff.
Good defending from TFC2 though. They just collapsed into difficult shape to break down, and stopped anything going through that direct game channel.
Is this maybe the kind of match, or at least the opening half hour you might have expected, Terry? Low scoring, all three matches last season. You know, I mentioned 2-1, 1-1, and 1-0 to Rochester. So not a lot of goals to be had when these two meet up.
For Jason Ben, I think it was important to come through the first 30 minutes unscathed after conceding 7 in the last 2. And I think defensively they look good. I hope I haven't cursed the team right now. And for Rochester, I think the game plan is good right now. TFC2 have yet to really open them up. Couple sort of half chances for both teams off set pieces.
That was another thing that we saw a lot last year. Anytime you or I mentioned something, the exact opposite usually happened within the next 2 or 3 minutes.
I do like the combination of fallen forwards in midfield for Rochester. I think they work off one another well. They've got a nice balance, and it's not easy playing against an extra midfielder that TFC2 do have.
Tainter does well there to defend the ball and win Toronto the goal kick.
I think both Trinidadian players, Andrews and Peters, have come in and have had a good start. They've been solid. I think Peters has been aggressive, won his headers, very rarely not found a red shirt. And I like how Andrews is threatening him behind, just needs to clean up 1 or 2 things.
Andrews pushes that back for Tainter. Out wide for Alseth. Andrews again. Loses it there to Forbes. Fall. Tug from Johnson. Now Farrell. Farrell through the middle. Played for Madison. Madison heading straight into the Toronto defense and dispossessed. Good defending there from James.
Yeah, Arbery does quite well there. He just drops off and delays, which allows Brian James to get back and nick it off of Madison.
Madison scored the opening goal in Rochester's 3-2 victory over Bethlehem last Saturday. That was quite a contest that they had. 3 penalty kick goals combined in that match. Both goals that Rochester conceded to Bethlehem were on penalties.
Yeah, it was a good scout for Rochester. There was lots of experience in that Bethlehem team. Charlie Davies, who's played in the MLS, got lots of appearances there. Also played a couple games for the U.S. national team. Brian Carroll, captain of the Philadelphia Union for the last 30 years he was playing.
Yes, Jordy.
That's Telfer, taken down by Dover, and referee says play on.
I think the referee got that one right. Telfer, who's more of a number 9 or number 10, putting a shift in for the team on the left-hand side. Yeah, Telfer, great first touch. Just not enough contact there from Dover for the referee to give it.
Telfer throws in for Spencer. They'll do it all over again.
Beresford and James have just changed positions here. Beresford, he's now playing in the hole. They brought James out here to the right-hand side.
Endo forward for Spencer.
Good pressure from the TFC front players to turn over possession there.
There's Endo. Looking for Andrews. Failed to connect there. This will roll harmlessly right to Gomez.
A coach will never be negative or have a go at a player when he tries to be positive like that. Endo could have taken the easy option, come out to Telfer here, but he tries to pick out Andrews between the line, just misses with his pass touch.
Have you liked Endo's game so far tonight?
I have done. I don't think, if I'm brutally honest, when he plays wide in that wing-back role in a midfield 5, I don't think it suits him. I think he's better either just inside or playing in a 3 up top. His best attributes is obviously his quality, his delivery. It's a difficult position, that wing-back role, just finding the right balance defensively, that starting position, and I think that's offside. Yeah, the linesman calls for it. The referee's just playing an advantage here, Matt. Playing that wing-back role, when to press high, when to drop back into that sort of full-back position. It takes time, but I'm sure with experience, you'll be able to figure it out. All Seth so far has done extremely well.
Cavalluzzo runs out to meet that. So we are under. Official will say that that did go out, and it will be a Rochester throw. Comes for Spencer here. He sees Andrews, carries forward himself. There's Johnson. Telfer. Endo. Little stutter step there to swing it out wide for Alseth.
Endo does really well there. Just before he gets it, Matt, he checks his shoulder. He sees the Rochester midfielders just half a yard off him, so he can take that touch and play wide.
And without that check, he's likely dispossessed, and Rochester's countering up the field.
Or he tries to force it, and the Rochester player just nicks it off him if he plays it first time.
Over.
Good from Aubrey there, very tight on Beresford. Brian James just got pulled out of the pocket there. Beresford needs to be stronger. You see how Madison there, Matt, just gets his body in to draw that foul. Beresford before wasn't strong enough. Good gazemanship there from Malik Johnson not to allow that quick free kick, just stands over top of the ball.
It's Canardo Forbes who will take it. He's been the set piece man for the Rhinos tonight. Swung in, and it took a deflection off of Madison there. And that'll be out for a goal kick.
Great ball there from Fords. Madison gets half a yard on Aubrey there. He should be a goal. He needs to hit the target.
Soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. Jason Bett mentioned this in his availability, media availability yesterday. that it's a different-looking Rochester team than what we've seen last year. They've lost their two big strikers, their top goal scorers, Christian Valesky and Steven Dos Santos. Valesky now in St. Louis, and Dos Santos just up the 401 in Ottawa. So a different-looking attack from these Rhinos this season.
Yeah, Valesky had a good first week in the USL Player of the Week. Dos Santos, big, strong target man, Brazilian. I like him. I think he'll be a handful he is a handful for most defenses. So yeah, they're a little bit quicker. They're a little bit more dynamic. I think that'll help them press teams higher up the pitch. And we've seen Madison, he's got a real quick change of pace. He lost Aubrey there on that set piece. He'll need to be watched.
Just 1 minute of added time, as you see on your screen there. Tainter. And that's out for a goal kick. And Cavalluzzo will likely milk as much of the clock here as possible. Just boot this off, and we'll be heading into the locker room shortly. And there it is, the halftime whistle from the referee. We have a
here.
Trying to see who I don't see on the, is it Malik Johnson who's come out?
Yeah, Malik Johnson. I actually trained with Sergio Camargo. He came through the academy, was probably close to getting a first-team college, decided to go down the university route, went to Carolina, Syracuse, played in the PDL. TFC kept an eye on him, and they've now signed him to a homegrown deal. He's had a hip injury. Sorry, Matt, he's been out all preseason. This is his first minute so far, but a very smart midfielder, box-to-box player, very comfortable on the ball. He also has that pass that could potentially open up a back four.
The substitutions confirmed by the public address announcer, Brandon Onkonyi wearing number 77 and Sergio Camargo wearing number 20 in for Toronto, and it will be Tainer and Johnson coming out for the Young Reds. And I believe the captain's armband has been passed off to, I think I see it on Brian James, but I'm not 100% sure on that. There's Camargo with a shot at goal, and that's the first stop made by either keeper. Thomas Gomez dropping down and chesting that away.
Yeah, Camargo just picks up the second ball there after it's come after the cross. Great first touch, sets himself up for it. Comfortable save for Gomez in the end. Just picks up the rebound. Good decision from Cavalluzzo. So it looked like he was going to come for it. Allows Aubrey to deal with it and head it back. Yeah, I would have liked to see Matt, one of the two strikers, just come over into the channel there. When you've got two up top like that, you're not playing as a number 9 on your own. One of the strikers just needs to come over into the channel, either look to get it to feet or try to get it in behind. Just give Okonye? I
think it's
Onkonyi an option. Onkonyi.
So two, Terry's still practicing under his breath here. Two substitutions for Toronto, none for Rochester, as we see Andrews with a shot that does not threaten. Do you like the strategy of bringing in two fresh bodies right at the half?
A little bit worried for Mitch Tainter. I hope he hasn't picked up a knock. That sort of smells of maybe he's picked up an injury. I think Malik Johnson and Camargo's like for like, and I think they're just trying to ease Camargo back into the action after being injured all preseason.
So just one substitution to work with now for Jason Ben. Bob Lilly has all three of his remaining. And,
no signs of fatigue so far after the first half of the 3 games that they've already played.
Andrews is going to finish up one of the...
That's better movement from Andrews. Sorry to interrupt. I see Andrews run into the channel. Now all of a sudden TFC are up the pitch.
It's deflected out for a corner. Yeah, I was just going to add, Jochen Graf was a substitute last week in their opener against Bethlehem, and he scored the winner in the 88th minute. So that's a weapon that Bob Lilly has in his back pocket.
Also have another good player. I watched the last game, Mike Grazzi. I liked him. Right footer playing off the left-hand side. Turned the ball over for the first goal high up the pitch.
Yeah, Garzi got the assist on the Darius Madison opening goal. That comes off the head of Peters. No red shirt there to get it. Cavalluzzo all the way up near the midfield line will push this back up for Toronto. To Spencer. Now Cavalluzzo's got to get back to his goal.
Again, tough ball for Spencer to bring down, but I'd like to see him get hold of it there. Allows the midfielders to play off him.
Endo. That's picked off there by Camargo. Andrews. Camargo loops it around on his right. Andrews trying to cross in and takes a deflection off a Rochester defender, and it's out for another Toronto corner. It will be their 6th of the game.
Comes from a poor square pass from Brown on the left-hand side here for Rochester. Camargo sets a little bit of a trap. He's not stood in there. He's waiting for that square pass, pounces on it, finds Andrews. Andrews is direct and earns a corner kick for TFC2.
Endo once again. That's headed over by Aubrey. Rochester gets to it first and will clear it past midfield. Cavalluzzo meets it, and it's Alseth. Trying to lift forward for Camargo. There's Endo. Endo brings it down. Out for Spencer. Spencer into the area. Second touch, just a little heavy. Lost the handle on it, and it'll be cleared by Rochester.
Yeah, Endo does well to pick up that second ball off of Camargo's run from midfield. Already Camargo showing a ton of energy. Makes a good run forward. Endo picks it up, goes wide to Spencer. Just waiting for Spencer's trick. The trick doesn't quite happen. Right back Camden does well to stand on his feet.
Alseth wins the free kick. Coney. James. Endo. Alseth. Coney. Lifts that high over Spencer, and it's gobbled up by Gomez.
Okening just over hits that one. Spencer was available on the diagonal. It was the right pass. Just needs to pick out Spencer there. Andrews was in a good position to play off of him.
Endo back in support. Pushes back for Cavalluzzo.
Great running capacity, Endo, on the beat test at the start of the year. Jordan Hamilton won it, but Endo was a close second. You see him getting up and down the pitch. Real box-to-box player when he plays in midfield.
There's Spencer. Spencer pushes up for Telfer, and the cross in, and Andrews has it picked off his foot by Gomez.
Probably TFC's best move of the game so far. Spencer, we spoke about his ability to link play, picks it up. Instead of going back, he turns with it, finds Telfer. Telfer puts a great ball into the near post. Andrews has to make that run to get in front of the keeper into that near post space. Good hands from Gomez in the net.
There's Beresford. Beresford with a strike, and Cavalluzzo handles that easily. It looked like it might have rolled wide if he had left it, but not taking any chances, of course. Toronto playing into the wind now in this second half. So as much as it's swirling, does not look like it's having that much of an effect on balls in the air.
I think Camargo's energy has changed the game a little bit for TFC too. He's given, Malik Johnson was a touch static, and he was playing in front of the two midfielders, Forbes and Fall. Camargo just playing in behind them is causing them some problems right now.
There's Madison. Defended there by Ulseth and Aubrey. And Ulseth is the one who pushes it out, took a deflection. Rochester will maintain control.
Good defending there from Aubrey. I think that's a matchup Bob Lilly would like, getting Madison one-on-one with them, but he just delays him, stays on his feet, allows Ulseth to get back, and it was a nice double team from the TFC2 defenders. The ice-cold beer tent's not looking too busy, Matt.
Yeah.
Just a heads up there.
Not on this evening, Terry. Once we get into the warmer temperatures and the hot summer days here.
We'll try to sneak over at halftime.
You can sneak over. If you want to bring me back one, I'm not going to argue with you.
To be fair, I don't know if you've got the pace to get back.
Well, if you lose any more knee cartilage on the way over there, we'll never see you again.
Ooh, poor one. It's very late.
Aggressive challenge, yeah.
I don't think there was any malice in it. Beresford. I think Telfer was just too quick for Beresford. Just beats him to it. Telfer does really well to nick the ball off of James, and then he's just too quick for Beresford. I don't think he means to really go for him there. No need for Beresford to do that, Matt.
So Beresford will receive a caution for his efforts. So we are now in the 55th minute.
At this stage of the game, concentration becomes very important. Rochester really haven't threatened TFC2's goal a whole bunch, but they do have a ton of pace up top with Madison. They need to be ready for that counter-attack, that quick ball in behind. It's important that Aubrey just gives himself an extra yard to sort of equalize that pace of Madison.
Endo winning that free kick again for Toronto.
Good decision from TFC2 to play there. It was too straight to try to put it into the box.
Crossed in, Spencer the intended target. Rhino's defender in the way. Endo trying to play that through again in a sea of green jerseys. Telfer, his pass is picked off.
Just tried to force, just tried to force it a little bit. The shape of Rochester was very good through that direct game channel. Both strikers there, Matt, looking for feet. One of them needs to threaten behind. Just try to stretch this back four. They're comfortable when everything's in front of them. These two teams actually met in preseason. Rochester beat TFC2 3-1. TFC actually went up. We're winning 1-0. Rochester came back in the last 10 minutes against quite a young TFC2 team to win the game.
Lutzo. Onkoni. Endo. Cody again from Endo. Now back for Cavalluzzo.
That's better, not panicking in the press. Just taking your time, finding a red and playing out of that press.
Here's Camargo with some speed pushing forward. And well defended there, and he meets the Rhinos back wall, and they are able to clear.
Yeah, Forbes does well. We spoke about trying to put together 4 or 5 passes to play out of the press. There we see a perfect example. TFC do it. Camargo springs the trap. He's attacking the back four. Forbes, probably there's a little bit of contact there, just not enough for the ref to give a free kick. Possibly if Camargo goes down there, he gives it. I think Camargo was just looking for Andrews to peel off his center half there, looking for that slip pass.
Let's go, guys.
by Onkoni. He's got Alseth beside him. Feeds the Norwegian. Clever ball into Endo. Endo, Alseth, Endo. Nice bit of interplay there for James. Swings it out all the way to the left for Telfer, but it's met there by the head of Ryan James first. Telfer able to win it back, though, for Peters. And now Brandon Aubrey.
Yeah, Ryan James does really well there. If he misses it, Telfer's in. I was talking to Octavio Zambrano, the Canadian national team coach today at training. He said he was going to be at the game tonight, so good opportunity for the Canadian players to play in front of the national team coach. That
one had to smart. Ball to the face of Jaylen Brown. It's got another look.
Yeah, it was good of him to face the ball, hey, Matt. Again, we see him just pressing high.
Oh, that could not feel good in this cold weather. Can't feel good in any weather, but this...
He probably doesn't feel it.
Yeah, maybe not. If a ball hit me in the face right now, I'm not sure I'd feel it. Don't get any ideas of Terry trying to hit me up here.
Good start to the half, though, from TFC2. This is good to see. I think Camargo's helped the team just start to put a few passes together. I like the balance of the team in the second half, especially in possession.
Yeah, they've carried the play a little bit more in this second half than they did in the opening 45.
Still lacking, you know, if you're brutally honest, that cutting edge and really opening up Rochester. Rochester probably will say that they are comfortable, but there's been a couple of decent passing sequences.
It's a Rochester team that last year seemed quite content to, not necessarily to play for the draw, but to come away with 1 point on the road. Their road record was 4-3-8 last season. So 4 wins to 3 losses and 8 draws. So more than 50% of their games. And there's an opportunity for Camargo, and Gomez has to come out and make the save, and it's out for a corner.
Great burst from Camargo there. Again, shows his pace, that change of pace, directness, and the defender comes over nicely to end that attack.
Telling Endo to hold up. Having some words with players in the area. As we see a substitution readying for Rochester. Get to that in a moment. Endo plays that close to Camargo. Tries to play it into the area, and not a lot of quality there for Toronto. What do you think of that corner there, Terry?
I thought that corner was on in the first half. Rochester were aware to it there. I didn't like the angle from where the cross was coming. It was a little bit too central.
Substitution here for the Rhinos. It is going to be Mike Garzi coming in for Jaylen Brown. You wonder if this is purely tactical or if that blow to the face he had a minute ago is giving him some troubles.
I think it's like for like, similar sort of players. As we spoke about 5 minutes ago, Garzi, he was a handful again in that game against Bethlehem.
Brown drawing his first start of the season, drawing in for Stefan DeFregger, who out with a knock right now.
Yeah, out with a groin, I think. Garzi, he's, from what I saw in that first game, he typifies the way Bob Lilly wants to play. Presses extremely high. He's a right-sided player playing on the left-hand side. He'll look to tuck in when he picks up the ball.
And we've seen him here with Rochester the last couple of seasons. 63rd minute here in Toronto. Still looking for our opening marker. Well, of course, anything can happen at any time, Terry, but it doesn't feel like a goal is coming for either side. There hasn't really been a ton of build-up. Sometimes you can, sense a team getting opportunities and they're just right there, knocking at the door. But neither side really in that position right now.
I feel like it's coming possibly for TFC2 right now. Maybe Rochester might hit TFC2 on the counter, but two well-organized defenses, and with the video and the game tape, and both coaches have done their research.
and as we mentioned in the first half, low-scoring games in all 3 contests last season. The highest scoring game, the 2-1 Toronto victory, no goals until the 77th minute. So certainly no reason to turn away from your YouTube screens just yet. And we thank you for joining us on this chilly Friday evening. You're likely sitting at home at the computer or the television with, like Terry said, a warm cup of tea. Have one for us.
Good move again there from TFC2. Ball goes into the big man Spencer. I think he finds Endo, and Endo puts it into the near post, which is extremely well defended. Good to see Andrews get across that near post.
There's Brian James. Dances away from Beresford, unable to find a teammate. And good work there from Camargo.
Good work and strength as well.
Forbes.
Forbes is a strong player. Good core from Serge to just hold him off as well and nick possession off him.
There's Spencer. Trying to pick out Peters, unable to do so.
I think what Jason Bent, one change he's made in the second half, is he's really got in Camargo and Endo to just push a little bit higher and almost play off of Fall and Forbes in midfield, neutralize them.
Pushing up the left flank, Bradley Camden Filot. Now Wallfall. Trying to pick out Garzi. He's able to keep it in. Looking for the cross there. It's deflected by Onkoni. And out for a Rochester corner.
A good ball between the line from Fall there. Onkoni recovers well. Give up a corner kick. There we see already good movement from Garzi to earn the corner kick.
And that one is swung onto the top of the goal and out for the goal kick. About 25 minutes to go here. Cavalluzzo gets us back underway. Free kick one here for Toronto. Taken quickly. Olseth was moving forward, saw the ball coming in his direction and had to do a double take and stop up. There's James, pokes it away from Forbes.
Wasn't the best ball from Olseth into James. James does well to keep TFC2 in possession. I really think, Matt, the best way to break down this Rochester team, one, you got to be careful in possession. Garzi already almost turns it over there. Is to try to move these blocks of 4 around, try to open up some pockets in between the defenders and midfielders, try to get Endo in there and Camargo on it, just on the half turn, and then try to play forward.
There's Forbes swinging it wide across.
Just Telfer a little bit slow out of his zone there to get there, and he just commits himself, which allows Rochester to possibly get up the field.
Dover played that ball a little bit too long. We're going to see the second substitution for the Rhinos. It is going to be Darius Madison coming out in lieu of Jochen Graf. So the hero of the match from last Saturday, Graf, will come on for Madison, and he will get just under 25 minutes here this evening.
He didn't need long last week. I thought good performance from Madison. I'm impressed with him. Very quick, works his socks off for the team. Good ability. The ball sticks when it goes into him. I think he's definitely one of the better attackers in this league.
TFC controlling on the back line. There's Oncomni.
We wouldn't be surprised, Matt, at some point if we see the third Trinidadian today, Ricardo John, possibly come in at some point. Maybe for Ben Spencer. There's been a lot of football from him after coming off of a serious knee injury. Just protect him a little bit. This turf's not easy on your body.
And we saw Ricardo John last year, I believe it was in September, maybe in August, in his TFC2 debut, a brace against Montreal in a losing effort, but it was a spectacular debut for him.
Important interception there from Peters. Very important. If he doesn't get there, Ryan James is in. I don't mind Ryan James playing on the right-hand side if I'm Jason Bent. I think he's more of a threat when he plays in the pocket underneath. Peters just gets there in time. Yeah, good habit that John's got, nicking goals. There's a couple of brave headers he scored last year. We just stuck his head in where it's going to hurt.
Yeah, definitely has the knack for that that finishing touch.
Good problem to have for a center forward.
Yeah.
He's a little bit raw. I think his game needs to be refined a little bit, but he works extremely hard. I've done a little bit of work in the academy so far this year. He's one who's willing to learn. He wants to get better. I think he can play in a 2, also can play on his own up top.
Oh, great play there from Alseth. Was not able to keep it in, but from his hip was able to swing the ball away. And if he would have been able to get it to Andrews, it would have been a spectacular play, but a very solid effort regardless.
Yeah, I think Alseth's the player that is penciled in to possibly get some first-team minutes this year in that wing-back role. At the moment, there's only really Beitajor who can play there, so huge cherry for him if he keeps performing well.
Yeah, so tonight, likely an audition of sorts for him. We know when they can, the brass of the first team, head coach Greg Vanny and general manager Tim Bezbachenko, come out to the Ontario Soccer Centre as often as possible, and they are likely here in attendance this evening, scouting some of the pieces that they've got in the chest.
Yeah, I don't think these players are involved with the first team. It's more than scouting. They'll play crucial roles in the first team, and with TFC also they're in town. They're playing Atlanta tomorrow night. So like you said, Matt, I'd be surprised if they're not here today. And
although I wouldn't blame them given the weather. They could be tuning in on our broadcast, as there's a good leaping save there from Gomez.
Good strike from Ben Spencer. Really short back lift. He gets it off his foot extremely quick, hits it well. And Gomez is too hot for him to handle. He just pushes it away.
Yeah, I was saying I couldn't blame them if they didn't want to come out and brave this -3 tonight.
They probably want to watch our great broadcast as well.
Absolutely. Let's get another look there at that quick strike from Spencer.
Yeah, just real good awareness for him. He sees the space behind him, doesn't take a touch, and just lets rip.
Toronto's got the free kick here. Down to our right. Endo will swing it in. And that's headed away. And Forbes tries to clear it high up into the air. Comes down. Alseth will let it bounce on the second hop. Sends it back with a header to Cavalluzzo.
Another good header from Fall. Good delivery from Subasa Endo. Fall does a lot of dirty work for Rochester in there. Some of his work probably goes unnoticed to the untrained eye.
Camargo trying to pick out Spencer. Well defended there by Farrell.
Real clever play there from Camargo. I like that little Cruyff. Knew where the space was, comes inside with it. Probably just picks the wrong option. Space was out on the left-hand side to Telfer.
Oh, maybe a mistake there. James not able to get it, a lot of power on it to play it to Cavalluzzo, and Cavalluzzo decisive out of the area and coming out to swipe that away from the on-pressing attack. I believe it was Graff that was up there.
Yeah, quick Graff was coming down on him. It's not easy for a goalkeeper, one, when it's freezing, and two, you've not had a lot to do. Shows great awareness, good starting position, and a very good decision to come off his line quickly.
And that's, that's a split-second decision. If he waits a half a second longer, Graff is likely there and able to dance around him and has, an open net 20 yards in front of him.
It's either a goal or a sending off.
Garzi trying to work around Onconi into the area. Garzi centers for Corbs. For Forbes, rather. Canardo Forbes. There's a deflection, and it's gone just wide. Soccer fans, Nike is an official partner of the USL. For more information, head on over to NikeSoccer.com.
Garzi's had a good impact since coming off the bench. There we see him just cut inside. Maybe picks the wrong option. He tries to pick out Forbes at the edge of the box when he just created that half yard for himself to have the shot. Good defending at the near post from Graf.
Corner sent in. Looks like Farrell up to get it. Headed away. That saved the goal. I believe that was Alseth who was there on the back post.
Yeah, important header. I think it's got Cavalluzzo beat. Possibly Felix it was, Matt. Goes up and wins the header. Again, just a driven ball into the box. Felix raises high. Good leap from him and an important header.
Substitution here for the Rhinos, the third and final. It is going to be Ryan Bukimia coming on in place of Brandon Beresford. Let's take a look at that latest corner one more time.
Ball in from Forbes. Between, probably you were right, Matt, Farrell just gets up
Felix
in the air.
was there as well.
Yeah, between the two of them, I think Farrell gets the last contact on it. Real important header at the back post from Alseth.
Graf with the cross there. Garzi trying to run onto it to keep it in the park. Does so. There's Fall. Played through, looking for Bukemia just on. Looking for some substitution magic again is Bob Lilly, but that's broken up smartly by Toronto. They clear only as far as midfield before the Rhinos retake control.
Important interception from Monconi. I like that ball from Fall. Tries to play a straight ball onto a diagonal run. Just this turf mat is so slow, allows Monconi to get there.
Peters swings that up for Andrews, but out of his reach, and it's collected by Felix.
That's what I was just going to say, Matt. Bukimia, the substitute that just came on, made a good run to feet there, which drawed Aubrey out of his sort of sweeper role, and Graf made a good diagonal run if they were in there, a little bit more quality on that pass. It's important Aubrey doesn't get sucked into midfield and leave that back line, which creates that space in behind. Sometimes it's fine. I know you don't want your player to get the ball. You want to be tight. But the lesser of the two dangers at that point is let them get the ball in front of you. You don't want to be beaten behind.
And that was Garzi and Alseth going up, and Alseth still in some considerable pain. Looked to be holding his right wrist at first, and now he has gone down onto his back. Here's another look.
Yeah, good call, man. I think it maybe his left wrist like when he's landing there.
There it looked like it could have been a left shoulder, but he was originally holding his... does look to be his right arm in some considerable pain as the trainer is feeling up near that elbow area, possibly landing on that elbow. Let's see if we can get another look at it. The boys in the truck are going to get us
there's a look at John there, possibly coming on. Yeah, here we see him go down. The turf isn't forgiving at all.
It does look like you said, like he lands on the left side. I still don't see where the pain in his right arm is coming from there. Maybe on the we're not seeing something on the collision.
When you put it in like this, you know, possibly a hand maybe. I've dislocated both of my shoulders. When I've walked off with dislocated shoulders, to be fair, I'm carried off. But Alseth's an absolute animal if he's just walking off with a dislocated shoulder like that.
I have not seen an official announcement about a substitution.
We saw John getting ready to go on. I don't know whether it's a change of plan now that Alseth's had to go off. There we see the Andy physio. He's the fastest physio in the land, he claims. He can do the 100 meters seriously in 10.2 seconds.
Not bad.
I wonder what the Rochester physio can do it.
If we had some better weather, maybe we'd have them square off after the match. And they'll be back in September. Maybe we save it for then. This is the first of 3 meetings between these clubs. Second season in a row. I guess third season in a row they'll play 3 games. They'll meet again July 26th in New York, and then September 2nd back here at the Ontario Soccer Center. And yeah, it will not be Ricardo John coming in. It will be Jordan McCrary.
Jordan McCrary. Right-sided player. Was at New England last year. He's coming in preseason. Earned himself a deal.
And McCurry's finally gotten the okay to enter the match. And he'll get about 10 minutes here plus added time. So we have seen an injury, slower pace second half. I'd imagine we'll see more than just the 1 minute we had in the first half. Camden Fleuo.
Yeah, ref tried to play advantage there. Ben Spencer caught Camden late. Some good movement from Rochester in the last 5 minutes. One looking to get it to feet and the other one trying to get in behind. Just struggled with the quality on the ball into the front man.
Leukemia unable to keep that in. Ben Spencer did get a yellow card on that play while we were trying to sort out the substitution and the injury. Spencer given the yellow card. And when we have a moment, we will show you that foul. And here it is.
Yeah, Ben Spencer working hard. You'll see him come across the line here. Camden just lets it go. Ben Spencer catches him late. Not a yellow card for me.
Smart play there from Fall. Frees it up. Garzi now. Camden Fleuo. Dispossessed. Garzi deflects it back to him. Aggressively defending there from Onkoni, and he wins a free kick to the Rhinos.
He gets a little bit too tight on Camden there. Just needs to jockey him, just stay off him. Doesn't need to go win it there unless 100% he knows he's going to get all ball. Poor John, it was ready to come off the bench. Jason Bent was going to roll the dice, possibly bring another striker on, probably to put him on for Big Ben Spencer, but because he used the 2 substitutions at halftime, needed to make a change for Allseth. It's not going to be John's night tonight.
And that's where the rule change of 5 substitutes down to 3. And there's a great save from Cavalluzzo as he comes diving across to his left. Oh, that looked like a sure goal off that corner.
Massive save from Cavalluzzo. Huge save. A little bit of redemption for him. He got a ton of criticism for that first goal in Orlando. He comes up huge. I love that about football. There's no in between. He makes a game-saving save for TFC2 on Fall at the back post.
So it remains 0-0 here in the 83rd minute. The best chance so far coming to the Rhinos, and Jochen Graf is in offside.
Yeah, I think Graf was offside. Bukimia made a similar run. I think he was onside. Here we're going to see the save. A low ball into the box from Forbes. Goes past everybody. Fall at the back post. Just sort of stabs at it. Cavalluzzo, look how quick he's over. Makes himself as big as possible. And stuffs Fall at the back post.
That was Brandon Onkoni who was marking Fall.
He just got his feet mixed up. He didn't move them quick enough. He was all over the place. Fall just loses them. Big save for Cavalluzzo.
Onkoni's got to go thank Cavalluzzo. He committed the foul that allowed the free kick, and then almost was the defender exposed on a would-be goal. Fall
did quite well there. He used his body to just get wrong side of him, and once he's wrong side of him and has position on Conne's, it's big problems for him.
Endo with a good sliding challenge there, won the ball back for Toronto, but they're now giving it back to the Rhinos. Endo goes up with the header. Bukimia misses that one. He's got that big protection on his nose. Looks like he's suffered a broken nose recently.
Good play there from Camargo to spring the attack. He used his body well to just roll the defender and then get it into Andrews.
Telfer crossed it, looking for Camargo, just unable to reach it. Camargo just a little bit. He's not the tallest guy on the pitch, that's for sure, and needed a little bit more to get his head onto that one.
I think he's been TFC2's best player in the second half.
Oh, for me, for sure.
Yeah, he didn't just watch his pass after the good work. He gets himself, he's more mobile since he's come back from university in the 4 years. He's up and down. I remember him being very technical, but I didn't know he had legs like this to cover so much ground. Doesn't watch his pass, goes all the way up there, gets in the box.
There's Forbes. Forbes playing through for Graf. There's Bukemia. Bukemia walking in. He's got to stop up. It's Forbes again. Toronto scrambling a little bit defensively, but finally it is Peters who will push things forward. And there's Spencer. Spencer is onside, pushing forward. He's got an opportunity here. He's marked by Felix, and he's not able to get a shot away. He will turn back. There's Andrews. Andrews with the strike, takes a deflection, and TFC hollering for a handball here. None coming from the officiating crew, and Rochester will try to mount a counterattack here.
I think it would have been harsh if he gives a penalty there. Off a ricochet, it does hit Camden in the hand, but not a penalty for me. Good angled run from Spencer on the quick counterattack in transition. Just doesn't quite have the legs to get away from Felix. Felix does well to usher him away from the goal.
The best opportunity, arguably, for TFC so far.
Spencer does do well there, though, to hold the ball up and get it into Andrews.
Let's see if we can get another look quickly at the
yeah,
no call.
Andrews picks it up from Spencer's. Spencer has a shot.
It looked like it maybe even got him the bicep area,
Yeah,
maybe on the chest.
Yeah, he twists him. I thought there was a little ricochet. I thought it had gone off of Farrell, but directly hits Camden. He just turns, and I think when your arm's that close to your body, I think it's difficult to give a penalty.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there, Terry. Not an intent there, and really nothing he could have done. I think that's a good call by the official.
Poor decision from Andrews. I think you need to realize that you've got two defenders in front of you there. Just maybe go wide. McCrary had made a good run forward.
Andrews taken down there. Toronto hollering for a free kick. They are not going to get one there, and Rochester will counter.
Just before that, there was a good move from Rochester.
As they're pushing forward with Fall. That's back for James. James now leaves it for Forbes. And Cavalluzzo is onto that one. Not the most power behind that strike from Forbes when Cavalluzzo was able to get it.
Good to see the game opening up a little bit here.
Toronto-Rochester, final 10 minutes.
There you go. Well, it's just saying before that, Graf had picked the ball up in a good area from Forbes just before the TFC counter. And Aubrey just fallen over. If Graf had checked his shoulder there, I think possibly didn't need to pass it to Bukemia. He was in.
There's Forbes of that quick free kick from the Rhinos. We are down in the final 3 minutes plus added time. And we'll see how much is added there. Probably roughly about, I would say, 2 or 3 minutes. So we're looking at another 5-6 minutes here in this match. And like you said, Terry, it has finally opened up. It took about 81 minutes. And we're finally seeing some opportunities here on both ends of the pitch.
Yeah, the movement from Bukemia and Graf, I've said it a couple times, has been good. One's coming short, one's trying to go in behind. Some of the passing from Rochester's been very positive. And I think Camargo's been that link player for TFC2 from defense to attack.
And McCrary's brought some energy off the bench as well.
He has done, yeah, for sure. A couple of times he's made good runs, and they haven't quite been picked out, but he's working hard since coming on. Probably trying to stay warm.
Yeah. Well, he's playing with house money, too. Like you said, Ricardo John looked like he was getting ready to come on. McCrary probably thought, okay, 3 subs, I'm out for the night. Now, all of a sudden, injury to Alseth, and his number's called, and he's got to be sharp, and he has been.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity for him. He gets his appearance bonus.
Corner kick here for the Rhinos. Swung in, Cavalluzzo goes up and makes sure that he's got a firm grip with both hands as he comes down.
Yeah, that's probably the one weakness in his game, because he's probably just about 6 feet, is coming for crosses. He dropped one in Orlando, so that'll be good for his confidence there, coming out and picking that out of the air.
Nearly deflected there by Graf, at least it looked like it from our vantage point. Endo on Coney, all the way back to his keeper. Inside the final minute before added time. No indication just yet. Here's Endo.
Good little ball around the corner from Serge.
Endo looking for an open teammate, as Peters able to run onto it. But in the middle, looking for Andrews. It's deflected by a Rhino right on to goalkeeper Gomez.
Peters finds Telfer. Telfer takes a great first touch inside with it. There's a ton of space in front of him. For the first time all game, Fall wasn't there backing up his fullback and wide player. Telfer could have kept running with it there, tried to commit one of those defenders. Just crossed it a little bit too early. Spencer just sleeping. When you've got two up top, part of your job, Matt, is to stop that holding player dictating and playing. Just needs to get around Forbes there.
It's going to be 3 minutes of added time as we've hit the 90-minute mark. Will there be a winning goal in these final 180 seconds?
It's important for TFC too. They're one of the youngest. I think they were the second youngest team in the league. There's a little bit more experience in the team this year. It's important. They've worked extremely hard, that they stay switched on and don't concede anything unnecessary at this point.
Yeah, it would be good for them to come away with a point after 2 rough outings down in Florida. But Rochester trying to put a dent in those plans. Cavalluzzo goes up and he is able to snare it away.
Good shout from him as well. Communicates to his back three that it's his ball. That'll put off the striker and attackers a little bit as well. Takes it out of the air at its high point.
It's a high goal kick. Or I guess a free taken kick.
Too easy from Endo. That throw-in comes into Forbes. He's got to stop that, and that's what starts this attack.
Ball for Garzi, crossed in and headed away. I think that was Peters that got a touch to it to thwart that Rhino attack.
So those little things, we talk about the concentration, it all comes from the throw-in, these two, now the second phase of the attack.
There's Garzi trying again. And maybe a little bit of miscommunication there with Ryan James. I think he was expecting it low and hard, and it was lofted up above him. There's Spencer. Endo. Endo wins the free kick for Toronto. And I think that's going to be a booking as well.
Yeah, professional foul from Fall there. He knows exactly what he's doing, stops that attack.
Here's Onconi into the final minute here of added time. Onconi back for Cavalluzzo. Pushed up. Looking to pick out Telfer. It's Fall. Doesn't connect. Peters will throw inside 30 seconds. There's Telfer pushing forward. Telfer with a strike, and it's wide.
I mentioned about 5 minutes ago, that's exactly what I wanted Telfer to do with it. When he picks it up out wide, he's got a half a yard on his defender. Keep running with it, just isn't able to get a full connection on his shot.
Aubrey heads that forward. It's back for Rochester. And there it is. That is full time here at the Ontario Soccer Centre. A 0-0 draw between Toronto and Rochester in the TFC 2 home opener. We will have our final thoughts shortly. It was a spirited affair in the second half anyway, as the game really started to open up in the final 10 minutes or so. Few chances each side, but nothing able to find the back of the net. Terry and I will have our full-time thoughts when we return. You're watching USL Soccer.